Hello, everyone, and you're very welcome to an impromptu reaction show to the absolute disaster class that was the 7-0 defeat to the crowd from Liverpool. Stay with us for this. Hello, everyone, and you're very welcome to the reaction show to the mauling that Liverpool Football Club dealt to us in today's game. I do see that some of you are jumping in with your comments and reactions to the game already, but I do want to mention the Man United Agenda mug, kindly designed for us by, was it Neil? Pat, I'm after
Glenn.
blanking on his name.
Glenn.
Glenn, sorry. On mine, I've got Leacha. I think you're still waiting for yours, Pat, but if you want to get hold of one of these lovely mugs, do drop a message in one of the shows and we get you in contact with Glenn and he'll tell you how to go about getting your own Man United in the mug. Pat, you were inside in the town, the city, the big smoke of Dublin during this game, and you were surrounded by the enemy. You were surrounded by Liverpool fans. How are you feeling before we get into the nitty-gritty of this?
Look, lads, I'm deflated, Kev, like everybody else. I felt we needed to do a show, even though we got our arses handed to us. And I'm sure a few of you guys in the chat would like to vent as much as we do now. Let us know how you're feeling. We'll read out your comments, because at the end of the day, this is just like a little therapy session that me and Kev wanted to do for you guys. Get it off your chest and let us know what you're feeling, how you feel it went. I'm sure we're going to have the likes of Bart and Alaconde coming out of woodwork now, who we haven't seen for a while, letting us know what you think. But yeah, look, it was I was optimistic going into this game, not cocky. I felt Liverpool may have scored first, being Anfield. I thought that we were in a good position, good form, with no reason why we couldn't beat them. When the game started, after the first 35 minutes, I had a different opinion on how the game was going to go. I really did. We just felt all over the shop. I just felt like nobody could put their foot on the ball and slow it down. Every time we went to clear the ball, not like certain individuals, but every one of them was just swiping the ball out, and every fucking time it went back to a Liverpool player. And this is only the first half. So I don't know, Kev, I don't know how you felt about the game before I start rambling on and use up all of our time.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Most of the guys in chat were watching me and OMONDI on the watch along earlier on today.
All right, so I can keep waffling. So
it was quite a harrowing affair. And at the end, I don't think we even were talking about the game. We were talking about the fallout. We nearly did a mini reaction towards the end of it. But I do want to say hello to a few people in the chat before we move on. Vincent Bullock is saying, "Hi, guys." Neil Kane is, "Big up, lads. I'm fuming." Paul is saying, "Why that starting 11? Ten Hag is learning very fast." We had one from Rush Mano saying hello in the chat. And we also have FTSN column, absolutely disgraceful today. The players down tools massively in the second half. And there's one more that I wanted to get to here. And that was also from Come the Glazers. Have to be held accountable. Two players Eric Ten Hag wanted scored today. No backing in January and left the squad with no real depth. So that's just a flavour of some of the reaction. And actually, there's one here from Robbie Norman. I do want to say hello to our fellow Irishman. He says, "We need to talk about Bruno." Yes, that is on the agenda. Don't worry, Robbie. That will be coming in this match analysis, to quote Eamon Dunphy. Big G, absolutely shambolic today. Bruno was terrible. Varane showed his true colours. AWB should have been picked ahead of Dalot. Maguire ahead of Varane. Sancho ahead of Anthony. Brush. "Hello, darkness, my old friend."
Oh, hey, hold on. There's a wardrobe here, lads. I'm just gonna get into it. I'll see you on Tuesday. Look, listen. All right, listen, guys. Thanks very much for joining the therapy session. Make sure you give us now a like, a share, subscribe if you're new. Okay, but I'm baffled. I'm dumbfounded at how we lost of such a high goal ratio. we bet Barcelona during the week. We bet Barcelona previously. Real Madrid hopped off Liverpool. Barcelona go ahead and beat Real Madrid. Liverpool couldn't even score against Crystal Palace last week, and somehow we let them score 7 goals against us, and I just can't wrap my head around it. But anyways, you want to go into the starting 11, Kev, do you?
Yeah, and before I do, you actually just reminded me of literally, I was on TikTok after just to see what the fallout was going to be like, and I scrolled through Twitter as well, and every troll Liverpool fan in the building was just giving it socks. But
yeah. Well, Kev, can I say something? That was their cup final. They're not going to get any. Their highest position they're going to get now is top 4. Oh, I hope so.
Oh Lord, don't jinx it, Pat.
Yeah, that was their cup final. They have nothing else to look forward to now at the moment. So that was their cup final. Hopping was over today. So look, anyways,
yes,
it is what it is. I'll let you get to the starting 11.
Yeah, the starting 11 on paper looked pretty strong, didn't it? De Gea, Shaw, Martinez, Varane, Dalot, Fred, Casemiro, Bruno, Rashi, Anthony, and Weghorst. And you just said on the sideline, a relatively decent array of options. But when push came to shove, it seems that something just did not hit quite correct. I'm just going to bring up the stats from the game. Liverpool had a total of 18 shots on target to United's 8. And the reason why I referenced this is in the first half, Pat. Manchester United were generating chance after chance after chance. And invariably, they were going into the breadbasket of Alisson. And he was saying, thank you very much, lads. And I mentioned this to him Monday. Looking back here at that starting 11, the lion's share of Manchester United goals came from that left side, Marcus Rashford. And the drop-off from his goal haul for United this year to the next man is quite startling. I think it's somewhere in the region of 12 to 13 goals to the next man down. And when your production is coming from just one source, if that production dries up, you go from having an absolutely wonderful trajectory to crashing fairly lively. If you look today, the goals for Liverpool came from 4 different players. 3 of them got doubles. But is there anything in that starting 11 that you'd have said before the game, do you know what now? I wouldn't start him, I'd start somebody else.
The only one I'd never say anything bad about Erik ten Hag, because Erik ten Hag cannot do anything wrong in my eyes, and the man is learning. He's learning the ways of the league as well, and there's going to be times where we're going to get our arse handed to us like this. And guys, we did not expect to be where we are now. I expected 7th or 8th this year, so the man has exceeded all expectations. But that starting 11 today, the only one I was very shocked at, and I actually was honestly shocked, was Diogo Dalot. And I'm not speaking bad about Diogo Dalot. I just think Aaron Wan-Bissaka is in a much better form. So I was trying to wrap my head around what was he thinking when he put him in there. Like, to me, Dalot was a puppy. You know, he hasn't got that bite that Aaron Wan-Bissaka has for putting in the challenge, and we would have been on the back foot a bit more. Did he want to start Dalot thinking you could carve Liverpool in half by playing the ball out at the back and starting plays with Dalot? That could have been the idea, but it obviously wasn't that way. And the biggest thing was my problem I have, and the reason why I wasn't happy with Dalot is Anthony isn't the best at tracking back for the full 90 minutes. He puts in his shift. He's not afraid to get stuck in, but he's not 100% at getting back all the time. And we could see that straight away for the first goal with Cody Gakpo. Dalot went to the ball. Fred went in to cover him. Anthony could have easily gotten back to help with defensive duties, and he didn't. And then Fred didn't put in the effort of the challenge he could have done with Gakpo either, leaving Varane exposed, giving Gakpo all the time in the world to cut it back in on his good foot, shoot and score, which he actually done previously to that goal. He'd done the same move about 10 or 15 minutes before that. And I was like, that's dangerous now, you know? But look, no, besides that, I honestly was happy with the starting 11. I thought I was curious for what Fred was on the pitch for. Like when Fred started against Barcelona, he was there to man mark Frankie de Jong. But there was no way he was on that pitch to man mark Harvey Elliott or Fabinho or Henderson, and he wasn't going to go completely out of position to mark Mo Salah. So I was kind of thinking could be done a bit differently for the game that it was. Should Scott McTominay have started instead of Fred? But look, that's in hindsight now.
Absolutely. No, as you rightly pointed out, bit of a body blow in the 42nd minute. What looked like we were going to go in 0-all, we went down 1-0. So Eric Ten Hag gets his troops into the dressing room, goes, okay, lads, we're down 1-0. We're not going to panic. We've been in this position before this season. We've been playing our better football in second half. So let's go out there and take hold of it. He opted not to make any substitutions. And then it just seemed that Liverpool just went on the attack. It's like they sensed blood in the water and they wanted to put Bambi down. And as we know, they got 2, then they got 3, 4, 5, and all the way up to 7-0. Now, the big thing that seems to be coming out of this, and the big criticism that seems to be coming out of this, is that the white towel is believed to have been thrown in by the players. That instead of kind of, falling on their shields and fighting to the bitter end, that they waved the flag of surrender and didn't put up any resistance in the end. Now, that's not to say that credit doesn't go to Liverpool. They played beyond themselves in the context of the way their season has been going up to now. We obviously know that there's still a lot of great players there. But I think you'll agree, Pat, in that their squad currently is very top-heavy, that they have pools of talent for that front three. But then when you look at their midfield, that's where they were getting beaten and where they had their defence exposed up until now. And I believe it's the worst defeat that we've had since 1931 to a Liverpool side, potentially.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that we got beaten 5-0 and 4-0 last year on top of that either. So I've probably witnessed some of the worst results as a Manchester United fan at the hands of Liverpool than most people have in their lifetime in the past 2 years. But the second half started off. I wasn't going into the second half thinking, geez, we're going to get beaten here. I just said, look, this is going to be a battle. I'm ready for it. Let's go. It's only 1-0. We can get a goal back. We can turn this around. Our form has been excellent lately. There's no reason why we can't do this. And then Darwin Núñez got his goal. It was a scrappy goal, but it went in. Look, hands up, the ball goes in. Fair enough. I think what took the breath away of the defender straight away was Cody Gakpo's goal. He took it very well. Let's just put it that way. I think David De Gea could have done a lot better for it, but I've never seen a team fall apart so quickly. Luke Shaw looked like Mo Salah was getting under his skin and he was losing his temper, and you don't normally see that from Luke Shaw. You don't really see that kind of aggression. He was throwing his knees into the back of Darwin Núñez. He was kicking and pulling at Mo Salah. You don't let him. That doesn't normally happen with him. So I think he let the occasion get to him. Martinez the same. He was letting the occasion get to him. Normally he acts a little bit of the hard man, but he was cool. But he was rash as well. Varane was a bit just. I don't know whether he was just caught out because Martinez wasn't playing and Delô looked out of place, and it just as the second half started, it looked like Casemiro tweaked his groin or something. I was like, oh no, this is getting worse. And then when I seen him doing that little limp, it just didn't look like he was going to get back into the game. And then the substitutes came on, and I was like, okay, look, we need to put our foot on the ball. Just put our foot on the ball, slow this game down, get a substitute onto the pitch. And then all of a sudden, we saw Garnacho coming on with Scott McTominay. And went, all right, that's good news. We can get Scott McTominay in here beside Casemiro, get a bit of a block going on here, shore her up. But it never seemed to happen. Every single time we got our foot, tried to put our foot in the ball, slow it down, pass it out. It was just like, my God. It was like watching under-8s football where you just keep hoofing the ball forward every time you get it and someone runs onto it and hopes for the best. And it just never got better from that. And Liverpool they were enjoying it. They were enjoying every bit of it. They had us on the ropes. That was it. They had us on the ropes for the duration of the game, and it hurt. But do you know what? People are listening to me rabbiting on for too long. So you want to hit a few of these comments?
Yeah, actually, before you do, there's one point I wanted to bring up. There is 17 in the chat. Please do give us a like, share, and subscribe. That first Godi Gakpo goal, there was Luke Shaw was having a relatively decent game up until that point, and there was a manager of mine that used to say in my summer job, "It's the little things that kill us, gentlemen." And he was referring to we could do all the great stuff, all the big stuff, we could do that perfectly, but if we take our eye off the ball for the small things, that's when we get punished. And the one thing that seemed to be universally kind of looked at is that Luke Shaw didn't follow the defensive line up and actually stepped back, which had the net effect of playing Gakpo onside, even though he was the furthest away from Gakpo on the pitch. Is not being switched on for 100% of the game a problem for some of our players?
I was concerned about Luke Shaw coming into this game because of the mannerism we got hopped off, especially in Old Trafford with Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire the last one. But I didn't think we should really have that issue with all the new personnel that was in the team with Martinez, Anthony. We shouldn't. There was Casemiro, like these fellas, like World Cup winners, people who just came off the back of winning the World Cup. Luke Shaw revitalized. There's no reason. There really is no excuse for that performance today. We just got caught on the hop, on the ropes in the second half. Couldn't come back for it, and we were left spinning. And it was a dark day, but it was a once-off. I hope.
Absolutely.
I really do, because I'm not going to sit here and point my finger at players and say they weren't good enough. I'll point out things they did wrong, but I'm not going to blame players. I'm certainly not going to blame the manager. That's for sure, because the first thing I said to one of my friends in the pub, who happens to be a Liverpool Liverpool fan, I said, you can talk all the crap you want, but don't turn around and tell me that Jurgen Klopp got his tactics right for Liverpool to score 7 goals. All right. That just doesn't happen. And Eric Ten Hag didn't get it that wrong for Liverpool to score 7 goals.
Okay, and let's hit a few comments. I want to say hello to Paul Chilwa Banda. How are you doing, bud? We did look at your starting 11 comments, so I'll also say hello to the aforementioned Glenn, the designer of the Man United Agenda mug. So if you want one of yours, he will tell you how to go about it. Rush Mano, a big supporter of United Agenda, playing us keeps Liverpool relevant. You know what? That's some small consolation today. Vincent Bullock, I think on Thursday we'll win our Europa League game, but dreading Southampton after the shambles today. Yassine is rightly grinning from ear to ear, and you know what? Credit where it's due. You won 7-0, and it is what it is. Vincent Bullock, I hope we don't give a contract to Weghorst at the end of the season. No permanent signing from me. Vincent, please do elaborate. We'd love to hear your views on that. Anthony Herbert, the Arsenal fan. Big up, guys. Did not expect that scoreline. Paul saying Dallo and Anthony for him were poor selections.
Sorry, I missed the start of the warm-up and stuff like that. Was Sancho not brought onto the pitch or even starting?
That I did not hear, but I presume this was a tactical thing that he wanted to use the explosive pace of Anthony to try and take him on. And in fairness to Anthony, he did have a couple of his patented curling shots in the first half.
Yeah.
Big G, how are you doing? AWB is better defensively than Dallo. Varane is a bit of a wet wipe when it comes to physicality and a derby game. Maguire would have been a better selection. Central midfield, there wasn't any, he's saying. Glenn coming in with the advertisement for those wonderful Man United Agenda mugs that I've shown you there. He's saying they're £15 each, £20 to the Republic of Ireland, and that includes your postage. And if you want a car sticker, £3, we'll get that there for you. Vincent Bullock, in regards to my white towel comment, they flew in that white shirt that was on their backs, the shirt that was supposed to be a tribute to the 99 team. They threw it off their backs with the lack of effort put in. Mr. B is saying 1931, oh for F's sake. Rush Mano, we had multiple chances, but as OMONDI would say, did not finish our dinner. Ed Mayhem saying evening Reds, heart is broken. Stewie Marshall, freak result. And yes, we will be talking about Bruno to wrap up the show. But lads, I know there's many of you commenting, but we will try and address all of them in the comments after the show. But I do want to talk about Bruno because there was an incident.
Bruno.
I will just bring this up briefly. You can read them in your own time in any of the post-match reactions. There was a rather in-depth, honest reaction from Erik ten Hag. We won't go through that tonight, but there is a pile there. You'll get him on your Google search should you want to read how the gaffer reacted.
So, Kev, tell me about this Bruno, because I didn't see this. I must have jumped in the car at this stage.
So, we were in the watch-along, and we were talking about the way that the defence had seemed to break down, and then all of a sudden, then there was a kind of a raft of substitutions. And Bruno is starting to lose his life on the sideline. And I didn't really kind of grasp what was going on at the time, but he was having an exchange with Erik ten Hag and basically insisting that he wanted to be subbed off the pitch. Now, he was the man on pitch that was wearing our captain's armband. And instead of wanting to go out and continue to try and fight and restore some bit of pride, even though at 6 or 7-0 down, you can say, what pride could we get back at that stage? He was looking to exit stage left and not be on pitch anymore. And for all we said about Harry Maguire last year, Pat, even in the face of adversity, Harry Maguire was never looking to sideline to be taken off.
No, never once. And he put up with some shit performances week after week. So that's a very valid point.
So there is 20 of you in the chat. I want to know how you feel about this apparent incident with Bruno Fernandes. Do you think he's worthy of ever wearing the captain's armband again? Or should that job now go to someone that will display a little bit more leadership? I know what people will say. They're saying, well, it was a unique situation. We were down by a ton of goals. People weren't a human. And he reacted out of sheer and utter disappointment. But is that enough?
Well, all I can say is from people react different to different situations. And maybe under the stress of the game today, Bruno didn't mean it, but he didn't act like a captain should have acted during the game. And that's what you just said is not right. No, I'll have to see it myself to have a good look at it. But from what you're telling me, it doesn't go down. It doesn't really go down well with me. But I can tell you one thing: one man who's going to deal with it properly, if it is worth dealing with, and if it is a problem, is Erik ten Hag. So I'm not concerned in the slightest. So for Bruno, he's going to learn a harsh lesson if he has done something wrong.
Okay. I'm just going to hit a few comments just to take us out on this topic. Bruno saying, Cullum is saying that Bruno went back to petulant Bruno today. He lost his shit on the watch along on FTS saying, and he puts in a tackle, doesn't win the ball, and then decides to walk away from the ball instead of going for another goal. Big G saying, drop him. Jeff is asking, did he have a knock? Rushmano is saying, Martinez is my captain, to be fair.
Legend.
Vincent Bullock, still worthy of wearing the captain's armband. More captain than Maguire. He was just having a bad day and didn't know how to deal with the situation. Fair comment.
We all have it.
Rushmano, maybe Bruno had a niggle. Big G, said it for ages. Bruno acts like a kid, whinges. He's not captain material. And finally, the last comment of this reaction show. I think Bruno still down about Sunday when he had the caps and had them stolen by Maguire.
Yeah.
So, oh yes, that's right. He's talking about the trophy.
But look, one thing I'll say is, I'm not going to sit here in a Bruno bash, because at the end of the day, even Erik ten Hag came out and said it himself. Each player did not play worthy of wearing that Manchester United jersey today. They didn't play like Manchester United players, and they didn't play like Manchester United are supposed to play week in, week out, especially in battles like that. So look, we didn't rise to the occasion today. Liverpool did. Let's just fucking soak up them salty tears, get on with it, back to manager, and next week's next week, lads.
Absolutely. Now, do keep an eye on the Man United agenda for the week coming up. We will be back tomorrow, more than likely with Andy Tate, but that is subject to confirmation. Then previews and reactions will be happening throughout the week. And of course, we are in Europa League action against Real Betis on Thursday. And there may be a special guest on the watch along there. We just need to confirm those details with Mr. B and the watch along team. But the one other thing that Rushmano did remind me, the second round of the takeover talks are believed to be being conducted over this week and next week. So we will be, of course, abreast of any developments in that front. But for me and from Pat Lawless for tonight, it has been a painful Sunday, but try and get some sleep. And remember, if there is a Liverpool fan in your office tomorrow, tell him to F off.
Thanks for the terror.